Welcome to Bebuzz and welcome to Bebuzz English section. My name is Imtiaz Patel, Varediawala, and I am, as usual, one of the hosts of this English section. Bebuzz is brought to you by the Community Media Centre Bolton UK, and as name suggests that it is the channel for communication, it is the channel for interaction, and it is the channel where we bring expert people, professional people to our studio, and we tend to talk to them and find out what sort of adventure they are up to when it comes to either profession, business, or their academic career. Now, one of the main important elements as far as this program is concerned, and the program is called In Conversation With, is that, as I suggest, that we bring prominent people, community activists. At the same time, we bring academics, political figures, and we put forward various questions which normally our listeners would send us in. If not, then we would tend to have the conversation so that our listeners would find out more about a particular subject. Today, once again, we are very fortunate, and it is my privilege to welcome Dr. Zubair Hanslot to our studio. Dr. Zubair Hanslot is an engineering mathematician. His academic career spanning for around 25 years, so he's been in this field for a long time. And currently, he's Chief Executive of University of Bolton, new school called UTC, Bolton UK, and we'll find out about himself as a person, about his professions, and also about the work which he's involved. But I should say, not only welcome to Dr. Zubair Hanslot, but I believe you have brought a friend here in the studio as well. Should I call him by any particular name? Or?
It's a she. She's called Eve. First of all, thanks Imtiaz. Thanks for inviting me. It's a great pleasure to be here at Bebuzz. I think you've got a wonderful setup. So my little friend, she's resting at the moment. She's a robot, a humanoid robot. And we've named her Eve. We have two of them. There's one called Adam, and the other obvious one is called Eve. So this is a she. I put her in rest mode because she gets a little bit restless. From time to time, she does help me in trying to convey the message of education. So maybe towards the end of the session, we'll try and wake her up and see what she has to say.
I think that's something to look forward to, and I think we are all a little bit excited to see Eve in the studio at the same time. So welcome Eve as well, along with Dr. Zubair Hanslot. First of all, would you be able to share some of the information with our listeners and with our viewers? Would you like me to call you Dr. Zubair?
Zubair is absolutely
because obviously
fine.
I have to maintain the kind of level of cultural and social etiquette and mannerism. So Zubair, would you tell us something about your background in terms of where you grew, your education, your childhood place?
Yeah, I'm a son of an immigrant. My father, sadly, he's no longer with us, but he came to this country in 1961. Like a few people who arrived in the very early 60s. Life then was very, very challenging. My earliest childhood memories, we lived in Salisbury Street near Dean Road, and my earliest childhood memory was pushing my young sister in a pram when I was probably about 4 or 5 years old, and playing on Salisbury Street. I guess I had, a normal childhood like a lot of people from immigrant families. Money was scarce, but one thing that kept us together and kept the spirits up was, the hard work ethos that the immigrant families do bring with them. And I think from a very young age, I did develop a love for numbers. It's one thing I've always liked. One thing I found very, very easy. I say to a lot of people, I'm absolutely hopeless at everything you can think of, but I'm pretty good with numbers. The numbers come naturally to me. So I don't think it was any surprise that I'll end up working with numbers in probably an educational field. I didn't enjoy school when I was a young child, mainly because I was always the youngest in the class. One thing that impacted on me was my birthday was in July, and that was when the school broke up. And I never got the little badge, I am 6, I am 7, because my birthday was during the holidays. So I always felt a little bit left out. But these things, they develop your character as a person. And at the time, life in England was very difficult for immigrant families. This is Eve trying to wake up, so sorry about that. She thinks there's a helicopter around.
All right.
Okay, so we'll let her stop. Okay. So as I said, life was very difficult for immigrant families. I went to school in the 60s and early parts of 70s, well, up until 1978 I was in school. It was quite segregated. There weren't many immigrant families around, certainly not in the 60s. More immigrant families were coming in the 70s, and I guess teachers and the community didn't understand what we were about. So I just kept myself to myself and so on. But I progressed from school onto university. I studied engineering and mathematics. I developed a really deep interest in maths, particularly.
Happy birthday.
Oh right, I'm really sorry about that.
Your birthday.
No, it's probably. Eve needs to be switched off, to be honest with you. But anyway, what I can do, let me just see if I can switch off the sound.
Happy birthday.
Right, that's
Okay.
better. Right, sorry about that.
It's
So,
all right.
as I was saying, so I developed a real interest for this, and after graduating, I worked in industry for a while. I worked as an engineering mathematician, and I was involved in writing code, computer programs. And then I felt, I wanted to move on, and an opportunity came up, and I thought I'll try for, a teaching position. And I thought I'll try it for a year or two and see what it's like. I never thought I'll be sitting here 25 years later and just doing a similar sort of role, not exactly the same. So I entered my teaching profession in 1990 in the university, and my first class was to teach 108 students engineering mathematics, and I still remember that. It was quite daunting, but the one thing that got me through it is, I guess, you know your subject, and that passion was evident right from day one. So I progressed in my career. Now I hold the title of provost for the university, and I've got this special role, which I'm very proud of, chief executive, to set up a brand new school. It's a school inside the university. It's a very different concept, and we are bringing that to Bolton. So that's my career, that's where I am, that's what I'm doing now.
Well, it sounds, normally people would say that, individuals with engineering and mathematical backgrounds are boring, but it sounds quite exciting, really, career, and you have come a long way. So I think just connecting the point you left, that you're a chief executive of University of Bolton now school called UTC, Bolton, UK. Can you elaborate that? What does UTC stands and what do you do and what's there to offer for the communities or for the students, please?
Okay, let me just take you back maybe 2 years, because this concept, in my mind, is 2 years old. Around about 2 years ago, we sat down in the university as senior academics, and we started discussing what sort of things we can do to maybe improve the university. The University of Bolton, although it has historic links for 190 years, it is a fairly new university. We only received our title in 2004, so it's only 11 years since we've been called a university. So for that reason, we are not in the upper echelons of the university sector, where you could say we're like an Oxbridge or a Red Brick University. So people see us in a very different way, and we have certain things we're very, very good at, certain things where I think you can make some improvements. Yes, we are world class in research in advanced materials, and engineering has always been our heritage, so we're pretty good at that. We have a developing sector of health, and that's developing rapidly, and we're getting a lot of prestige and expertise in that area. Some of the other areas we're working on. So what we thought some 2 years ago is, how can we badge ourselves in a better way so people would see us like the University of Manchester, Lancaster, the red brick universities. So we thought of one way is to try and work with some of the schools to see if we can develop partnerships, try and bring more, better prepared students. I'm not saying brighter students, it's just better prepared. The preparation for university life, the hard work ethos and so on. So we went out and we started engaging with schools. The schools were welcoming. Unfortunately, there wasn't the feed through from the schools. Although they said all the right things, we wanted certain things in a particular way. We felt, although they agreed with, our concept, we were not getting what we wanted. The strategy was not working. And I don't blame the schools. I think schools probably have a different focus. One of the things they said is they have to be completely independent. They can't be associated just with one university. And we said that's absolutely fine. We just want to prepare the students that if they do go to university, any university, they're well prepared for it. But they didn't quite see it like that. So we thought, well, there is a problem. How can we better prepare students coming to the University of Wellington, or any other university for that matter? So we thought the best way to do this is to think of what British Aerospace would do. British Aerospace, as you know, make really fast jets, fighter planes. Now, if the raw material is flawed, they can't make fast planes. The planes will drop from the sky. So it just doesn't work. So what British Aerospace would do in that process, if they can't get the raw materials, they'll either buy the company and improve it so they have their supply chain, or they'll make the raw materials themselves. So we thought, well, we're a university, why can't we have our own school? So that's how the concept started.
I see.
So we wanted to create a school, but to do a school overnight is not easy. You have to there's a lot of regulation, you have to get permission and so on. But at the same time, Lord Baker, Ken Baker from the Thatcher years, was paying a visit to the Northwest, and he bumped into the Vice Chancellor, who's my line manager, and he spoke to Professor George Holmes. And Lord Baker said, I'm heading this concept called UTCs. So George said, what's a UTC? He said, it's a school, effectively. UTC stands for University Technical College. It's like a middle school. You start at year 10, in old speak, fourth year, or age 14. And UTCs prepare students for university and employment. So it is where you are inside a school where you do really academic work, but at the same time you're developing vital skills towards employment. So the Vice Chancellor found this very interesting. So he came back and he asked me to look at this, and I did some research and I found, well, this is very interesting. And I said, from the constitution that's there about UTCs, this will be a great proposal to put to the government to say, can we have a UTC? It will brand the university well, and it will put us in a good light, and it will give us the capacity to prepare students really well. So anyway, we put our heads together, and we have to go through the various motions of applying, submitting proposals, getting our budgets right, and so on. We went through that. It took another, I'd say, 6 or 7 months. Unfortunately, we got permission. The government said, okay, you can open a school. We decided to open it inside the university. We drew down funding of £10 million. So we have a £10 million school being set up as we speak inside the University of Wellington. Now, as far as I know, and I've been to quite a number of universities in England and Wales and Scotland. As far as I know, this is the only school that's truly inside a university campus. So for Bolton, this is quite unique. I think this is something we can really celebrate.
Sure.
And, you know, not a lot of people know this. When the school opens, we will make a big splash around this. So we are first, and we are pioneering this.
Nice one. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching B-Buzz in conversation with. In our studio, we have got Dr. Zubair Hanslot and Eve. Of course, I should not actually, left her out from the kind of interaction we are having with. So, I mean, you have talked about the kind of initial development of UTC, which stands for
University Technical College.
Technical College. But you've been referring this term school. So, I mean, what's the discrepancy there?
Yeah, a lot of people, I guess that's my personal view. The word college, a lot of people associate that as something which is post-16. People who are 16 and over will go to a college. And a school is pre-16. Now, we are in this transition. This is really, to be honest with you, it's a middle school. It takes on 14-year-olds. So there is a school element and a college element. It just so happens the government has called it UTC, University Technical College. I like to use the word school because that's what it is, in actual fact. We have a school inside a university. It would have been nice to say UTS, University Technical School, but it just so happens we're stuck with UTC. And we've called this UTC Bolton, and purposely we put the word university first because it's our school. We run it, we govern it. I'm employed by the university, but I'm seconded to make sure this is our school. All the elements of the university preparation are there, and I'm the accountable officer for this school.
Oh, I see. So in terms of benefits and syllabus, can you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah.
Why people would, or why student would come to UTC?
I think one of the things I've learned, experience and hindsight, I think is a great thing in Imtiaz. It's something, which people should embrace and value. One of the things I've learned in my schooling, certainly, right up to the age of 16, is how not to do a school. No disrespect to the school I was at, it was just, they probably didn't understand how to nurture, manage to the level I want nurturing, I want managing. My school is probably very, very different from all the schools you'll see. In a typical school, you would go in and the teachers would teach you. In a lot of cases, particularly at school level, pre-16, the teachers are not necessarily subject experts. The generalists, so you may get somebody who's teaching, say, biology, but they might not have a biology degree. They may have a degree which may not even be science. So you get that element, and there's no disrespect to those people, but I want to drive the in-depth learning. And all my teachers in my school are appointed for their specialism, rather like what a university would do. When a university lecturer stands in front of you, he or she would have that subject knowledge, that body of knowledge that is very important, and then the job of that person is to disseminate that knowledge so people can sort of learn from that.
I see.
Now, my school is different because I'll have that subject specialism, but not only that, I won't just deliver that in the classroom. Only 1/3 of the whole curriculum experience is inside the classroom. The other third is actually applying that knowledge. Now, if you take my subject, for example, mathematics, I will tell you, a lot of people might not know this unless they've read maths. It's a very, very creative and a very practical subject. Yes, you can do a lot of lovely maths on the blackboard and with pen and paper, but to do true maths, You have to see if you can actually apply it and get out into the world and see how the world makes sense using that maths. Some of the maths that we can devise and we've developed, the world is not ready for. Okay, it might only be used in 300, 400, 500 years. Can you see, when we discover other things? But that's the beauty about that subject. Now, the best way for me to do maths is not to read maths, but to actually do maths. Can you see? Now, I've extrapolated that into many fields, certainly in the sciences. You certainly can't do physics, biology, and chemistry just by listening to somebody, you know. And it's rather like, you know, if you take a pilot and you say to a pilot, you're going to fly a plane, here's the book on how to fly, and I'll give you some lectures on how to fly. I don't think the pilot will be able to take off. That's the difference. So in my school, I'm not just saying this is how you fly, I'm asking you to do it. I'm asking you to take the plane, take the controls, and see if you can really fly the plane.
So there's more practicality attached to it rather than just the theory.
Yes.
And you think that's very unique and sound opportunity for students who will come to your school?
Yes, because my school has two specialisms, clinical health sciences and engineering technologies. There's no way you can create a doctor who's just read the book. There's no way you can create an engineer or a mathematician who's just read the book.
Okay.
You know, you need to feel these things. You need to have a really applied knowledge. And the way to gain that is in a laboratory, is in the real world in some way.
Okay.
So let me give you an example. My aim in my school, when students start at the age of 14, they will not just be exposed to the teachers, but they'll be exposed to some of the professors, some of the senior academics, people like myself, so who have a passion in one little area, and they will be exposed to that passion, that subject knowledge, which will hopefully drive them and inspire them to say, in a way, if I take this on, I understand this, I can do really well in that subject. But also they'll be taken into the specialist laboratories. So to give you some example, we have a dentistry inside the school. So we have two areas of dentistry, the two big rooms set aside. One is the clinical side of dentistry. This is what you see when you go to your dentist, okay? Where the dentist will put you on a chair, they will check your teeth, they will do the filling, they will do extraction, whatever it takes. Then the other side is the manufacturing side of dentistry, where they will make the denture, the bridge, the crown, whatever is needed. Now, at the age of 14, the students who come to my school, they will read their GCSEs in a normal way, but they will go into this lab and they will work with the dentist, and the dentist will say, okay, this is how you do a checkup. Now, they won't do it on real people because of health and safety, but I have ordered some very expensive 10 seats of phantom heads. These phantom heads are intelligent dummies which the dentist uses before they practice on real people. So my students will get that, and you only find that in a dental training hospital or a university. You will not find that in any school. So that's one area. We have a similar thing in pharmacy and medicine. Coins are our sponsors. They've been really good in sponsoring what a pharmacy curriculum looks like. They've not altered the academic curriculum because that's our job. What we want from Coins is, what is the job of a pharmacist? Okay, what do they do? Can you help us to design the learning space and what a pharmacy looks like, what equipment we need, and so on? So we put all that in. We have paid for it because we think this is a very important element. The same in medicine. We work with NHS Bolton. We are now partners with NHS, and they have said to us they will give preferential treatment to UTC Bolton students when they want work experience. So if you want to be a doctor, a nurse, or a pediatrician, then there's no better school than to have something like this.
Oh, I see. Nice one. Just a couple of more questions in relation to the academic area you are involved, because when it comes to engineering and mathematics, it's frightening subjects for me, because my background is South Asian art and history, which is totally opposite to calculation and numbers. I have got a couple of general questions, Zubair bhai, to ask, but just ignore my naivety in terms of, are you expecting students to join on top of their mainstream education, or how does this recruitment side works, and what about the fees and admission fees and financial aspects? Can you briefly update on that, please?
They're very important aspects, Imtiaz, of course. Well, to come to my school, there are 2 entry points. There's the year 10, okay, which is start of GCSE, and there's the year 12, which is start of A-level. Now, when students want to come to my school, they have to apply. They have to they have to undertake some form of consultation. I have to be assured that they have a love for science. Academically, they're doing quite well at school. Can you see? Because this is going to be a tough call. When you're in the university, you are going to be stretched academically quite a lot. When you are accepted, you have to give up your normal school. You have to leave your normal school and come to us. It's a full-time commitment. You will be on our roll, and we will be in charge of you effectively. We will deliver at year 10 and 11 all the GCSE curriculum you see in a normal school. But we will do it different in the sense that we only do separate sciences. So we don't do this pardon my prejudice, it's rather weak and rubbish, this combined science, double award science. Universities don't like that, because if you want to do a science degree, you really should do separate sciences. Can you see? So we only do separate sciences. Okay? Then when you progress from those GCSE, you start your A-level curriculum, that's year 12 and 13. We effectively offer a range of A-levels. So we offer maths, further maths, physics, chemistry, biology, geography, computer science, English. They're really good A-levels, what one can do to try and set themselves apart from, the other students. But the uniqueness of my school is they'll do all that, but on top of that, they will get an insight to medicine, to dentistry, to nursing, to pharmacy, to computer programming, to electronics, to robotics, to engineering, and all these things are vital things that this country needs. And we're only aiming for people who are going to earn above average salaries in the future. We are not interested in trying to produce like a low-level skill workforce, which other institutions do really well. So we're not the type of institution, if you want to become a plasterer or a motor mechanic or a lathe turner, they are different institutions that do that really well. We're interested in people developing a career through going to university.
Nice one. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Bebus channel. In conversation with, we have got Dr. Zubair Hanslot, who has really given us a quite, I would say, in my opinion, revolutionary kind of new concept, which is UTC. The information is there. To find out more about it, I'm sure that we'll leave some numbers. So if you wish to find out, you can always ring us in on our studio number. If you would like to submit any feedback, any suggestions, any opinion, you can also do that through our social sites, and you can also visit our website as well. Just a couple of very quick but general questions, which is nothing to do with UTS, because we have had now a quite good insight into it. But I would just like to take this opportunity to ask Dr. Zubair Hanslot that it's a general question that in Britain, particularly compared to other communities, the latest statistics suggest that Muslim students particularly not doing very well. If this is the case, what could be the reasons for this?
I think you got to try and understand, when you say Muslims, somebody who's a Muslim is not race specific. Muslims can be people from Eastern Europe, it can be from Middle East, it can be South Asia, and so on. So
let's look at South Asian kind of connection.
If you look at South Asian, I think the statistics show there is an improvement, with the exception of the communities who have Pakistani or Bangladeshi heritage. There's certainly people from India who claim to be Muslims are faring a little bit better. But compared to, say, some of the other religions, say the Hindus from India, we're not doing as well, and that's accepted statistically. Now, you can't pinpoint on a particular reason. I've not done any in-depth research into this, but one immediately thinks of maybe there are different challenges we have. Maybe there's different expectation. One of the challenges we do have is the fact that in parallel to our schooling, we also have to attend the madrasas. So there is a limitation on the amount of time you have in developing or forming yourself in other areas. But some might say that's an advantage. When you go to madrasas, you are challenged intellectually, so therefore you're much more developed. So there is an argument either way. It's hard for me to pinpoint. One thing I can say, which is very, very positive, that certainly people in the Muslim community from the Indian subcontinent are very aspirational. And I think half the battle is having that aspiration, that belief that you can succeed. I think boys tend to do worse than girls because, boys, I guess, develop a little bit later than girls. I know I was a rather late developer, in many respects. And I wanted to hang on to my childhood. I guess some people say I still do now, but that's by the by. So I think that's the other thing. Boys, if you've got to, I think statistics is statistics, but what you've got to do is delve into it and see where the real concern is. If you can drill it down a little bit. I haven't done that research. From my point of view, there are a number of factors I could probably point to, but these are anecdotal things.
That's fine. That's again quite interesting. I mean, 25 years in academic field is a long time. So again, I'm just grabbing this opportunity to have your response on Muslim faith school. That recently we have seen several Muslim faith schools coming up in Britain. Nothing wrong with that, democratically and otherwise as well. But there are specific problems also related to Muslim faith school. I mean, have you come across with any of these problems? And if that's the case, from the academic point of view, do you have any solutions for those problems?
I mean, faith-based education, it's an individual preference. I've not come across any problems with that. I don't think there's a real issue. In fact, there's some very, very good Christian schools, some excellent Jewish schools. So, and there are some very good Muslim schools. So I think, per se, it's acceptable. It's okay. I do feel they need to be inclusive in the delivery of this education. I think that's the bigger issue. It's not that it's a faith-based education. Is how you embrace some of the other faiths. Now, obviously, I'm not an imam, I'm not a scholar of Islam, but one thing I was taught from a very young age is the respect and, if you like, the acceptance of other belief. I think it would be foolish for any school, irrespective of the faith, to totally ignore and respect other people's belief. And I think we live in a multicultural society. I mean, my father's always said he's been very grateful to this country, and I am. I think, life would have been very, very different had my father not made the transition to come to this country. And this country, there's some wonderful people. The indigenous population are absolutely wonderful. They have this sense of fairness, the sense of justice, and which other country in the world, if you think about it, Imtiaz, will let communities like ours flourish in the way it has? And I think that is something you should celebrate. So irrespective whether you're a Muslim-only school, a Christian-only school, Jewish-only school, whatever religion, I think you need to celebrate the diversity we have within the community. We should embrace that. We should, make friends with people of all faiths. I have friends who are from several faiths, and they're wonderful people. And it enriches my life, and it develops my character. Your character is based on your experiences. If you are confined to a particular experience, then your character will reflect that. And I think that's a very important, lesson we can sort of reflect on.
Nice one. Thank you very much. That's a very positive and encouraging and inspiring response. Before we conclude and end this interview, I would like to request Dr. Zubair Hanslot to really give us a little bit of insight about our another guest. Is it Eve?
Yes, it is Eve.
Who seems like eagerly waiting to give us some kind of a demo, or who would also like to interact with ourselves. So, shall we? What we are expecting from Eve?
Let's see what we can say to Eve, eh?
Okay.
Let's just see if we can get this thing going.
Hello, everyone. Are you all ready?
Okay, we are. Just hold on. Let me just... several things Eve can do. So I'm gonna. Is it okay to play a little bit of music? Is that acceptable?
Course, it's perfectly acceptable.
Well, we can be forgiven, inshallah.
But I'm sure we'll relate this into
Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppa Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Oppa Gangnam Style. Sexy lady.
So you can see Eve there.
Okay.
Now, Eve is a humanoid robot made by a company called Aldebaran. When you bring Eve out of the box, she does nothing. The whole point is you've got to learn how to program. So you've got to think mathematically. Now, mathematical thinking is quite easy, really. All you do, you take a complicated problem and split it into simple steps, processes, if you like. And that's what computer programming is. So you take a problem, and the problem could be, I want to make this robot dance. So you've got to try and observe how the dance movements are, so which arm is moving, which leg is moving, the head, and so on. So that is just ignoring the music for now. The music is a secondary consideration. So why I bought Eve is simple. In my school, there is a robotics laboratory. We teach computer science in my school. We teach computer science at GCSE and A-level. But we don't do it like a lot of other schools. They think computer science is just general IT. Use a word processor, a spreadsheet, you've done computer science. Well, frankly, that's not good enough. Mainly because it doesn't address the new curriculum that comes in. And secondly, industry demands particular skills. And the skill of coding and programming, although you might not be a computer programmer, is a very useful skill. It can be applied to management, working and relating to others. It has a humanities element. This concept of taking a complex problem, breaking it down into simple steps. So that's why I brought Eve along, to demonstrate that. Mm-hmm. Now, Eve, like I say, we programmed Eve to do various things. She can walk, for example. Okay. The space is rather limited, so I'll get her to walk, but maybe stop if she's falling off, basically.
I'll use my sonars to take a walk and explore my environment.
So, on this table, Eve is obviously walking.
Just tap my head.
Okay.
Let's go.
So, hopefully she won't fall off the end, because what happens, if I put my hand in front, can you see? The sonar senses.
I'm doing my best to avoid obstacles.
Reverses back.
Wow.
Okay, now she's going forward. Okay, I'm gonna stop her now.
It's nice to take a walk.
Eve can also play football. I've got a little ball here, but I think there isn't enough room. But if there was more room, we could demonstrate how she can play football.
Right.
Now, it's not like a football as you and I would play. It's like a football that a 1-year-old child would play, because it is a learning machine, so to speak. Now, what I can do, I can run Eve in a little program which we've given, and she'll...
Okay, let me talk about TC Bolton. I will sit down for this.
Okay.
Hello everyone. Are you all ready?
Okay, yes we are, Eve.
I am going to talk about the University of Bolton's new school. It's called UTC Bolton. Shall I welcome the audience?
Okay, Eve, go ahead. Welcome the audience.
Okay, welcome to my show. I want to talk about UTC Bolton. I want to show you how we teach and support learners at the university's new school. Zubair and I hope you enjoy the experience. Please don't hesitate to ask me or Zubair questions about the school. Do you want to ask me about the intake to the school?
Yes, tell us about the intake, Eve.
We will have 2 intakes for September 2015, Year 10 and Year 12. 240 places are being offered. The closing date for September 2015 entry is the last day in August 2015. What about the curriculum offer?
Okay, tell us about the curriculum.
As a school, we offer GCSEs and A levels. We aim to get people into medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, and engineering. Just think, through the school, you could become a computer programmer, working with robots like me. We are therefore a science school. Ask me if the school is selective.
That's great, Eve. Is it selective?
Yes, of course, there is an entrance exam. UTC Bolton aims to provide an ethos and culture of an independent school, but without charging fees. Hence, we are selective. We want to make sure applicants can benefit from the experience. If we accept just anyone, then it won't provide the academic rigor you would expect from a university school. Do you want to know the opening times for the school?
Okay, tell us about the opening times.
The school will start at 8:45 a.m. and finish at 4 p.m. 4 to 5 p.m. will be for enrichment. Do you want to know what is different about UTC Bolton?
Yes, you're going to tell us, Eve, aren't you?
It is led by the University of Bolton, working with employers. UTC Bolton has laboratories in electronics and telematics, dentistry, pharmacy and medicine, prosthetics and orthopedics, energy and fluids, robotics engineering and ergonomics. These laboratories are in addition to the normal physics, chemistry and biology laboratories. Employers are helping the UTC students to be employment ready. University of Bolton is creating progression to study courses towards sustainable careers. Okay, thank you for listening. I will hand you back. I hope my new friends will be looked after. Bye for now.
Thank you very much, Eve. I'll get her to do a little show.
Okay.
She can do a little bit of Tai Chi.
Wow.
So she's doing a little bit of Tai Chi here. She shows off her expertise in this. Like I say, the whole point is with an engaging robot like this, the problem of computer programming becomes quite a fun activity.
Sure.
You know, it's not dry, it's not boring, and you know, the young people, the students, take to the robot, and they see it as a quest to say, can I understand, can I solve the problem?
Indeed.
And the robot will then move.
Indeed, nice one. Can you make you sing Bollywood song?
We can. The only thing is I don't have any Bollywood songs here, but we can. You know, there are ways of doing that.
Fair enough.
That's not a problem. And maybe that might be one of the projects I'll give to the students. To
Indeed.
say, get her to do a Bollywood dance or
Dance
sing.
and the song at the same
and the
time.
song. Maybe she can be Kajal. I'd rather like that.
That's great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Dr. Zubair Hanslot, and I mean, to me, really amazing information in terms of the engineering and to listen to engineering mathematician. And it's an opportunity there. As I said, you can get more information. I'm sure if you visit there. I mean, how do people get more information?
Thanks for that, Imtiaz. We have a website which is www.utcbolton.org. A lot of information is available. Now, we've got certain intervention days where people can come to the university. On the 1st of August, we have, it's a Saturday, we have an intervention day where a lot of the people who have applied are coming in to secure their options, to get measured for the uniform and so on. But at the same time, visitors can come along and see
My
us.
battery needs urgent charging.
All right, she's mourning now.
Yeah.
So at the same time, visitors can come along. It will be at the University of Bolton, which is on Dean Road. The best entrance is the Derby Street entrance for that. On the 20th of August, we have a formal open day. So again, people can come to that open day. It will be after the GCSE results. So if they've done really well in a GCSE, they've not secured a place at a sixth form, they can come and look at us. They again meet all the teachers, the professors. They can see that we are very, very unique. And we should be really proud that we brought this investment into Bolton, a town like Bolton, having this. And the other thing people don't understand or realise, that the presence of the university in this town is worth a lot of money to the economy of Bolton. By our presence, we are investing almost £2 million to Bolton's economy every month. That's the cause or the impact of this university. So we should all celebrate and support the university.
Nice one. Well, on behalf of our listeners, on behalf of the entire Beavers team, and also personally, I would like to thank Dr. Zubair Hanslot for giving us this inside information in relation to UTC, technology, engineering, mathematics, and he made mathematics sound so easy. But I still remember those days where every time when there used to be a mathematics exam in my school and colleges, I was always obsessed and skipping that exam. But I'm hoping to kind of reconnect my mathematics interests with Dr. Zubair, hoping in the future that we'll meet up again as well. So thank you for listening, and as I said, that the subject itself is very interesting, and particularly for those people who would like to build their career up, the opportunity is just around the corner. So once again, my name is Imtiaz Patel. In conversation with, we've been talking to Dr. Zubair Hanslot. Thank you for listening, and wherever you are, you look after yourself, be happy, but at the same time, make sure that you look after other people around you and make other people happy. Thank you.